Welcome. For those of you who are just joining, a reminder to add A, V, or G to your Zoom names. So A if you're an activator, V if you're a venture, and G if you're a guest. I'm Chenny. I will be your host today. I am the CEO and co-founder of Got Care, a SheEO venture, which basically means a company that is receiving support, capital, and coaching from the SheEO network. For me, being a SheEO venture just simply means having a whole network and team of people who's got my back for any impossible challenge, which throughout this pandemic, there has been many opportunities for that. So for today, I want to begin with our land acknowledgement, and I'm going to pass it to our Canadian activator, Dali Patara, for today's acknowledgement. Over to you, Dali.
Thank you, Chenny. Hello, my name is Dali Patara Plishki, and I am a settler and a guest on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, including the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations on Turtle Island, also known as Vancouver, Canada. And I'm honored to be asked to say a few words today as a land acknowledgement. I've been very fortunate to be a SheEO activator for some time now, and in particular, very fortunate to participate in Sacred Spaces and Rooted in Your Story Indigenous workshops led by Echo Alec. Prior to those workshops and learnings, I didn't realize that a land acknowledgement is also an acknowledgement of people and of history. My settler way of thinking was that land belongs to people, but I'm grateful now to have that veil lifted, and I understand that it's the other way around. We, as people, belong to land. And as settlers, whether we're first generation born on the land that we're guests on, or whether our families have been guests for many generations, we share the responsibility to be good guests. And that means to also take care of the land that we belong to now and for future generations, to acknowledge that many of us are unceded land with no treaties even today, and the implications of that, which is the case where I am in Vancouver. Small steps that I take in my personal reconciliation is to say yes to the opportunities that SheEO and local Native Studies courses at universities and colleges provide for me to grow and understand better the land and the people of whom I am a guest. Thank you. And I encourage everyone here to also take time to consider their personal reconciliation, especially as entrepreneurs who have influence. Consider your own steps each day and how that will enrich your own lives and the lives of everyone in your local communities. Kukshem, and thank you.
Thank you, Dolly, for that beautiful acknowledgement. Thank you. So for today's call, everyone here is going to have a chance to meet a few members in the SheEO community, experience the SheEO magic for yourself, and an opportunity to join the network for our guests. These public calls occur about once a month and are an opportunity for activators to invite guests and for people new to SheEO to learn. And our usual weekly activator calls follow a different format. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, you might be thinking, what is an activator? So an activator is a radically generous woman in the SheEO community who is activating her network, capital, and expertise to support women working on the world's to-do list. If you have any other questions throughout this session about any SheEO words or language that we're using, please pop it in the chat. There's a whole group of people here to support. So yes, please take advantage of that. So for today, we are going to hear from SheEO founder Vicky Saunders, and then we're going to hear from another SheEO venture, Maker Studio, and an activator, Hermina Popa. From there, we're going to move into our Ask Give breakout groups, and we'll have some closing reflections. But to start off, one thing we like to do here is we like to do a 2-word check-in, because I don't know about you, but I have been feeling many, many things. And so one word just often doesn't do it justice. So Renee's going to actually share a link in the chat. All I want you to do is to click on that link and pop in your 2 words. And the prompt is, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? All right. Languishing. Yes. I also read that New York Times article. It's like, I feel so seen right now. Frustrated. Yes, I feel you too there. Excited, hopeful, happy, curious, grateful, calm, optimistic, grieving. Thank you, everyone. And again, for those of you who just joined, a gentle reminder to update your Zoom name, to add A for Activator, V for Venture, G for Guest, as well as your country, just so that later on when we break us up into the breakout groups, we can do so using those add-ons to support with that. So with that, I'm going to pass it to Vicky Saunders, the founder of SheEO, who's going to say some opening words. Over to you, Vicky.
Thank you so much, Jenny, and welcome everyone. I'm coming to you today from Treaty 13 in Toronto, Canada, on Turtle Island. So there is a word that is like in my bones these days: enough. This picture is taken from the March for Justice recently in Sydney, Australia. If you don't know what's going on in Australia with women right now, please Google it. It's a real moment in time. And this enough word is how I feel most days. The persistent violence, the structural inequities, the dangerous workplaces, the gender inequality, the sporadic instances of justice rather than an actual system of justice for everybody. Enough. It's time to change all of this. At SheEO, we're here to transform ourselves and the systems we live in by collectively working on the world's to-do list. So what does that mean? It means that when there's a racial reckoning, which we experienced last summer in the US, we collectively took action and formed a working group on racial justice across all 5 of our SheEO countries to explore our part in it and to address our conditioning that keeps racism in place. When we see that our business models are not working and literally pillaging the planet, we vote for amazing new innovations like Better Packaging, who have invented home compostable courier packaging. They're a New Zealand-based venture that Activator selected in 2018, and wow, their timing is unbelievably perfect. During the pandemic, the amount of waste that was created by courier packaging was off the charts, stuffing our already overflowing landfills. As soon as we find ventures like this, we start by using it ourselves, sharing it with our friends, putting it up on social, and we introduce the founders to the connections that we all have at different places at corporations to transition from landfill-bound packaging so that we can clean up our environment.
Yeah, fantastic.
Earth Day, hello. Because we're here, every day at SheEO, by the way, is Earth Day. Because we're here to co-create the new world, we pay attention to the kinds of skills that we need to be successful in the future, like empathy. Alana Ben-Ari founded 21 Toys. This is a Canadian venture to rethink how we teach critical skills. She believes that toys are the new textbooks. Activators in our community who worked with BMO, which is a Canadian bank, knowing that empathy is a core value in their company, brought her in to do some workshops and loved the experience so much that she ended up getting a contract to train the 40,000 employees at the bank. This is the kind of stuff we can do here. She's now added a failure toy to her workshops, and several more are under development. When we discover brilliant innovations who apply to SheEO, like Envorinex, which recycles 50% of the industrial plastic waste in Tasmania in one little factory, we spread the word about her approach, and we use our power and influence to get these kinds of factories in other places. In 1 year in our network, Activators brought her to Queensland, another part of Australia, because we all want to live in a cleaner, more sustainable world. Next stop for her is the rest of the world. We are committed as a community to building equitable systems that benefit all. So we fund and support Aboriginal, Maori, and Indigenous ventures that are preserving Indigenous culture and providing a meaningful pathway for Indigenous people into the digital economy, like InDigital in Australia, and surfacing traditional practices that deliver natural healing remedies like Sacha and Squalwyn botanicals. We know that Indigenous wisdom will get us to a place where we can live in harmony with nature and one another. So we offer Rooted in Your Story, which Dolly mentioned earlier, a beautiful 7-week exploration into ourselves led by Echo Alec. Here's what activators say about the experience. Just like breathe this in for a sec. I learned a lot. The idea of decolonizing and pulling ourselves out of the water we swim in, enough to acknowledge the qualities of that water, orienting the world differently, towards sustainable collaboration, away from shaming and control, that our individual stories are worth sharing and can be appropriate to share with others in an introduction. Someone else said, words are not enough to express how I feel. We have so much unbelievable feedback from this, by the way. Echo, if you're on, we love you. Words are not enough to express how I feel. It's the most valuable thing I've done since making a human. This one made me laugh out loud. And amazing, like, kind of transformation that's happening. Lots of things we do at SheEO, it's really hard to find the words to describe. We consider that a good thing, by the way. We need to get to a place where we're non-habitual and rethink what it means to be together at this time on the planet to create the conditions for all of us to thrive. We all have something to contribute. We pay attention as a community to our privilege, and we use our power with those who've been underrepresented and undersupported to ensure that we have a future that benefits everyone by gifting activations and reaching out to communities who have been put to the margins. Together, we know we can do anything when we put our minds to it. We started by getting capital and support into women with brilliant ideas to solve major challenges we're facing, and bringing our resources and our networks and our expertise to share and support. Now we're starting to realize that together, working on the top priorities we face in our communities, we can transform anything, as long as we start by transforming ourselves. Together, in a community rooted in what we call radical generosity. We are here, a wildly diverse community of humans of all ages and stages, races and sexual orientations, to trust our intuition and dream in a whole new world together. We have enough, we are enough, and we show up in the spirit of radical generosity, knowing that it creates a space for all of us to transform ourselves by collectively working on the world's to-do list. If you want to have your mind blown, welcome, because that's what we do here. We need to get out of our heads and into our hearts. You've come to the right place. If all of this resonates with you or part of it, welcome to SheEO.world. We have been waiting for you.
Thank you, Vicky. And I'm so curious for all of you who are new in terms of your reflections. Please post it in the chat. So curious. And next up, we are going to hear from Winona Satcher, the CEO and founder of US venture Maker Studio. Winona is an urban designer for social good, and Maker Studio is a green manufacturing and design build firm in Atlanta, Georgia. She specializes in utilizing landscape architecture and modular shipping container manufacturing as tools for equitable development. Over to you, Winona. I think you're on mute.
You know, I never forget that until I have to present. Thanks, Cheney, and hello to everybody, the whole SheEO community, and of course, new activators, welcome. So yeah, my name is Winona Satcher. I am a recent US venture. I am CEO and founder, as Cheney mentioned, of Maker Studio, a green manufacturing and design build company located here in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. We are a modular design build company, and so we utilize shipping containers as creative and innovative, sustainable real estate. And so specifically around affordable housing, we do have affordable housing crisis here in this country and globally. So why do we do what we do? Well, two reasons. One, we are just really tired of how community building has become extractive, exploitive, and destructive. But we utilize design, manufacturing, and the built environment to create opportunities for people of color, and inspire marginalized communities to be able to build and deploy and control their own value chain for generational wealth. With our shipping container spaces, our real estate spaces, we're able to build and build communities and housing and other real estate opportunities for 50% less than conventional construction. And because we utilize shipping containers or recycle that material to creative spaces, we're actually saving about 4 tons of steel recycled in each of our 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom units. So really excited about how we have aligned ourselves with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 9, 11, and 12. So it's not about just building a more equitable community, a society. It's also about how we build and for whom we build. So we employ local tradesmen and women, specifically women. One of our welders is a woman, which I think is awesome, to build and deploy our containers. But we also deploy micro factories. And so we are raising, and this is what my ask is for the group today, $600,000 in capital, angel investment capital, to pilot our first micro factory. Why do we need a centralized site? Well, right now we build everything one at a time. That is really not working. So to create the impact that we want to in the world and solve affordable housing and be a solution, we need a centralized site to ramp up our production so that we can grow and scale our pods, our shipping container spaces. It will actually increase our revenue projections and margins from 15 to 25%. And I have to be honest, personally, Vicky mentioned an amazing word, enough. I can't tell you how often I actually have to hide on construction sites in my husband's truck because we have a lot of bigoted inspectors who, when they see my face, they will not approve our projects. My husband is white, and when they see him, all of a sudden we get an approval. And so having a centralized location means that we have more control over how we build. It also means that I have less interactions with bigoted and racist people who don't want new systems and equitable systems, and have women control how we build our own communities. And so in order for me to create the impact, that $600,000 capital raise will get us a centralized site that will lessen these intentional racist remarks from inspectors who don't want to see me and other people control our communities and control how we see our futures. So we would love to speak with you, and anyone that's interested in impact angel investing in our company. We are offering a 20% equity stake and with a post-money valuation of 4.9 million. So our growth is to grow sustainably with you, especially women who believe in women like me to be more successful and more impactful in what we do, and to create a centralized manufacturing facility. We actually have 4 other cities who are interested in working with us to create more micro factories, one in Muskegon Heights, Michigan, and one in Oakland, and one in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we've got to get started today. I will say, to wrap up, a couple of things. One, we have identified a manufacturing facility here in Atlanta, and what's interesting is that it's located in the community where my family is from. And this is where my grandmother's grandfather, who was Irish, would literally with a shotgun go in the middle of the street to hold and ward off the Ku Klux Klan. So you talk about indigenous ancestral reclamation. It's an interesting conversation for me to reclaim this space to be more of an impact positively than a negative, extractive, and exploitive one. So we could definitely use your help with the 600,000 capital raise. I will say, last but not least, the importance of SheEO community and what Vicky and training everyone is a part of it for me. I wouldn't be able to speak confidently to you without SheEO. It has been, sorry if you hear my dog in the background, she has some words too. But SheEO has really created an investor-ready platform for me to be able to confidently ask questions to you and to other groups. And as I've said before, it really has been a safe space to be my authentic self. So I really appreciate you. I appreciate this opportunity and would love to provide any feedback or answer any questions about Maker Studio, about myself, and also anything that I could do to help support you as well. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Winona. And Renee just posted some contact information if you'd like to follow up with Winona about her ask. Her information is there. Yes, I agree with everyone in the chat. You are so inspiring. Thank you for what you do. Next up, we are going to hear from UK Activator Hermina Popa. Hermina, over to you.
Thank you. Let me just start my timer. I know we're tight on time. So hi everyone, I'm Hermina. I'm based in London and I've been a SheEO activator since February 2020. I activated after hearing Vicky speak in London, and in February of this year I chose to reactivate. In fact, it wasn't really, it was a no-brainer really, despite the fact that I'm actually currently in between jobs. I was finishing my previous role at the end of February, so I was definitely in budgeting mode. But the contribution to SheEO was absolutely non-negotiable. It was an essential expense in my budget. And the main reason for that is that my experience in the first year as an activator has been beyond anything I could have possibly imagined. It's so much more than just a network. And I would also say it's more than all of my professional networks combined. Really, what I personally benefited from, I found a group of supportive friends who provided inspiration, courage, and confidence for me while I was contemplating a career transition. I found very practical advice, such as recommendations of wealth advisors where I could invest my pension and savings in an ethical way. I think somebody else mentioned the weekly calls, and which also include coaching calls once a month with MJ Ryan, which are very compassionate and targeted and can lead to a mindset shift in an afternoon. So I absolutely feel that in the past year, I have just grown as a person so much more than I would have imagined. So there's a lot more. I'm sure that any topic you might have in mind, you'll probably find that there's a learning circle or a webinar that SheEO already has. But I would say, and I'm running out of time, so in terms of how I decided to make this an essential expense, I figured out that there's so much money that I already spend on webinars, networking, groups of interest where I pay a sort of membership fee. It would easily go beyond the £71, and it wouldn't have the continuity, consistency, and follow-up that I actually am getting from SheEO. So I started activating thinking that I'd be an investor, I'd be helping the ventures, but really what I've been getting back, I feel, has been more than commensurate to what I'm putting in. So if you have any other questions, I'm happy to have a separate conversation. Feel free to find me on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Hermina. Thank you, thank you. All right, so speaking of SheEO magic, we're going to all get to experience a little taste of that ourselves. So we are going to move into what we call our Ask Give breakout rooms. So for those of you who haven't participated in one, these breakout rooms are an opportunity for you to connect with a smaller group within this larger group here and to practice radical generosity, which we do through asks and gives. So an ask really simply is, what's something that you need help with? And a give is, what support would you like to offer? And if it's your first time joining here and you don't have an ask or a give or just want to listen today, that's totally okay. And feel free to also use the space to ask about any other questions you have about SheEO. And just know by just showing up and listening that you are making an impact to those in your group. And for anyone who put a star next to their Zoom name, we'll have a special group just for our first-time guests as well. And so a little reminder for those of you who have done this before, reminder to come back into this main room afterwards and share back just a 3-word summary in the chat. All right, so with that, I'm gonna pass it to Jessie.
Over to Nat.
I'm going to send you into your breakout rooms now. We'll see you back here in 25 minutes. This is an opportunity for you to practice the radical generosity that we talk about and to really step up and ask for what you need. See you soon.
See you. Welcome back. How was that experience for you? I would love to, I'm sure we would all love to see how your ask and give breakouts went. So if you want to post in your reflections or your 3 words in the chat, let's see how they were. Amazing, connection, insightful. Vicky, totally cool. Make it up now. Synchronicities, inspirational, connection, genuine, warmth, collaboration, flow, awesome, inclusive, engaging, interesting, so great, amazing, amazing. All right, I am going to now pass it over to Suzanne Barr, who also has an ask as well. Over to you, Suzanne.
I was on earlier, and being put on the spot like that is always so, it's humbling because you kind of get really present very quickly. But I wanted to share a little story with everyone for those that are new on the call that I have not met as of yet. My name is Suzanne Barr. I'm a chef, an entrepreneur, and advocate based in Toronto. And I am grateful for this community in so many different ways. You know, I first learned of SheEO when I stepped into the possibility of thinking outside of the systems that I've been working within, and thinking outside of the hospitality industry that has taken me under their wing for over 15 years doing the work that I've been doing. But, you know, always being kind of uncertain of like, how can I sustain as a business owner? How can I sustain as a woman of color in this industry and doing the work that I do, when there are so many moments where I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep my doors open. And that really showed up for me in a big way during COVID. And my decision to become a part of this community really was a day sitting outside on a beautiful sunny spring day, looking out, and tears were definitely on my face and in my eyes. And I just started thinking about the possibility that, you know, I need something more and I deserve something more. And if I'm whole, then someone next to me will be whole. And that looks like so much for me in my life because of who I've surrounded myself with and the communities I engage with. But more than anything else, understanding a lot more about SheEO gave me that hope that there is an opportunity to support not just myself, but also other women that are, you know, are struggling or that are thriving, that are in a space of not really sure that they need the support or help, but that option is there. And not always knowing that options are there, but knowing and recognizing that that option was there for me is what enabled me to pick up my phone and call my dear friend Janaki, who is within the SheEO community, and told her I'm ready to join because I know that I am only as strong as the next woman and next person next to me. And I really saw that as an opportunity for me to, you know, I didn't have the $92 a month in my bank account. I really didn't. I didn't really know how I was going to keep up with it, but I knew I'd figure it out. And that's kind of a big way of how I have navigated through my life, is that things either sometimes fall in place, or things have to get readjusted, or things don't work because they're not supposed to work. But there's a lesson within every moment, in every opportunity. And that's really truly what I took from that leap of radical generosity, of like looking outside of myself and how I was feeling, and recognizing that I could probably, this feeling could be evolved to something else, and it could look like something else, and it could feel great knowing that, you know, I am not just one person here. I am amongst many generational women that have had the same thoughts and feelings and anguish, and, you know, knowing that I can find the support, and I can find a community that sees me and listens to me and hears me and shows up for me the way that the SheEO community does. I saw that as an opportunity to not even think twice. I had considered it. I was skeptical in the beginning, but in that moment, I knew that this was the right decision and the best decision for me. And it's been a year being a part of this community, and I don't see any stopping. I see only more growth opportunities within this family, and being on this call and recognizing that my ask today is I am seeking support in grant writing. I am launching, so happy to share, I'm getting ready to really put my energy and launch my first product line of my food to as many places that it'll get out to. But more than anything else, I'm looking for some support within grant writing, because I know that my strong suits are in the kitchen cooking and being committed to the work. But I know that the area of grant writing and that is an area that I need some support. And that is my ask today. And that is my share today. And that is my give today, is to give you the strength and hope to know that if you are on the fence of considering to become a part of this community, that it's okay. I was there. And the moment that I decided to step into it, it was a decision that it opened up a whole new world for myself and to many other women that I also then shared my story with. So it is a pleasure to share my story. And yeah, I'll put my information in the thread. I hope to continue to see those that would like to join. And if you're still considering it, don't worry, this community is here, and we're only expanding, we're only growing, and we will be here when you are ready.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. And yes, if you know anyone who can support Suzanne with grant writing, please send her a note. Okay, I'm going to now pass it over to Jessie.
Thank you so much, Jenny. So we know that you heard a lot today, especially if you are our first time guest. So there are indeed a lot of different opportunities and ways that you can get involved and participate in the SheEO community. Before we end our event, I just wanted to share and highlight some core experiences of the Activator experience. So when you activate, you first get welcomed in, and you have options. You can either join a group call and or join a one-on-one coffee chat to learn more about the community and how to make the most of your experience. Every week we host community calls, which are a great opportunity to build relationships, to practice ask and give like many of you did on our event today, and also a chance to learn from SheEO development guide MJ Ryan about shifting our mindsets. Twice a year, activators have the chance to vote to select the ventures. So this is a chance to use your voice and power with others to select the ventures who are working on the world's to-do list. When the ventures are selected, we invite you to join a venture deep dive to learn more about how the venture is working on systemic challenges and how they are working on the SDGs, the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Once a year, we host an annual SheEO Summit, where we can build relationships, learn from each other, and celebrate the impact that we've created together. So these are just some of the core experiences, but beyond that, if you would like to get more involved, there are many ways to do so as well. As Hermina mentioned, as Winona mentioned, we have learning circles, we have working groups, an online community, a dedicated platform just for asks and gives, so on and so forth. But I do want to highlight that being an activator is on your own terms, meaning you can be as involved as you like. If you are inspired and ready to take action and join this amazing global community, activating is very simple. So Renee's dropping the link in the chat. Here's what it looks like. There's two options. You can select monthly or annual payments. In the US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, it's $92 per month or annual payments of $1,100 per year. In the UK, it's £71 monthly or £850 per year. And so it's very simple. Just enter your name and your email, select your payment method, and as soon as you activate, you'll immediately be part of this global community, 7,000 activators and ventures around the world who are working on the world's to-do list together, and you will be invited to start participating as soon as you sign up. So with that, we'd love to know, we're going to launch a quick Zoom poll. We'd love to hear if those who is interested in getting involved from here. So you'll see this pop up on your Zoom now, a few questions. How would you like to get involved? Let us know if you're interested in activating or reactivating. For those who are interested in activating, and maybe this is your first experience as a guest, let us know if you'd like to have a one-on-one coffee chat with an existing activator to learn more and ask any questions you may have. And finally, we'd love to hear if you met women on today's call that you would like to keep in touch with. Two last things from me. We'd love to hear how today's event was for you. So Renee is adding a link in the chat. Please take a moment to share your reflections on how your experience was. Would especially love to hear from first-time guests as we continue to iterate and evolve our virtual experiences. And last but not least, just like we saw on that slide where we have screenshots with everyone throwing their hands up in the air, we'd love to take some screenshots here so we can amplify the radical generosity and the SheEO magic that we experienced together on our call today. So I'm just going to close the chat here. Would love for everyone to share an expression with how you are feeling, hearing from Winona, Hermina, Suzanne, and I'll tag you all on LinkedIn. So we have a couple of photos. 1, 2, 3. Keep those hands up. 1, 2, 3. And a third photo. So many beautiful faces. 1, 2, 3. And we even have a fourth photo. So last one, 1, 2, 3, if you're on this screen. Perfect. Thank you so much. Passing it back to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Jessie. And thank you everyone for being here with us today. We hope you join us. And I wish you a lovely rest of your week. Take care now.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.